schooler who serves the high school program of MFC Youth and a vocalist in the MFC Youth Music Ministry. Brothers and sisters, to fan the flame of hope, Miss Benita needs Javier.
Good morning po everyone! I hope you all had a good time sa paglakad natin for life. Nung naglalakad ako, I was reminded of this quote because I am so on fire to walk for life. Every life is a gift and has something unique to contribute to this world. Pope Francis. 1 month ago, I spoke with my servant leader, a kuya from Missionary Families of Christ Youth, or MFC Youth, about the alarming rate of teenage pregnancies at the school where he teaches. Sabi niya, 4 out of 6 sections na tinuturuan niya ay may at least 1 pregnant student. And so I asked, ilan taon na sila, kuya? He replied, around 14 to 16 years old, kasi grade 9. Sabi pa niya, may isang time rin, a mother went to the office to request a modular for her child. And when the school asked why, she pointed at her daughter's bump. She was 5 months pregnant na pala. My heart sank at his stories. These are young teenagers just beginning their journey of self-discovery, figuring out who they are and what they want to be. They should be filled with possibilities, with opportunities waiting for them. I am not saying that these possibilities are gone, but their journey has become more difficult. Teenage pregnancy in the Philippines has become a national crisis. In 2022 alone, over 3,100 girls under 15 gave birth, and the rates among teens aged 19 and below continue to rise, contributing to one of the highest pregnancy rates in Southeast Asia. As a teenage girl myself, it breaks my heart to see so many young lives affected by this reality. I am Benita Javier, but my friends call me Nits. I'm a 15-year-old homeschooler. My whole family are actively serving in our community, Missionary Families of Christ. I serve as a vocalist for the MFC Youth Band, and I compose worship songs. I also serve in MFC Youth's high school program, MFC High, where we visit schools to lead MFC High clubs and guide students in their spiritual lives while juggling academics. We lead events like student leadership trainings, praise concerts, youth camps, week-long recollections, live peer forums speaking on the importance of true love and chastity. And we help nurture students' relationships with God and discover their purpose in life. I'm the oldest daughter of 7 children, 3 of whom are already in heaven. I come from a faith-driven family. Nagsisimba po kami daily, pray the rosary daily, and visit the Blessed Sacrament daily. We practice receiving communion on the tongue and kneeling to show our reverence to our Lord. And my mom has taught us to wear veils early on, as we were taught that in our faith, sacred things are covered, and that includes our bodies. My parents have instilled deep convictions in me. Naalala ko po, my father talked to us about abortion when I was just 10 years old. So I've always believed in the sanctity of life. As I grew older, I wanted to embark on my own journey, to defend my own beliefs with conviction, not simply rely on what I was taught. So, I did my own research on this topic. At that time, my dad enrolled me in a formal logic course where we studied the validity of arguments. We learned how to analyze statements and identify fallacies, anything unreasonable. And as I read the articles from the opposing viewpoints available online and posts on social media, like pro-abortion, LGBTQ+, and other woke ideologies, I began to see how these arguments were crafted to seem plausible or appealing. But beneath the surface, I saw a hidden agenda. manipulation. I'd like to show you an example of a fallacy commonly used today. And as you see in the slideshow, it has the popular feminist slogan, "No uterus, no opinion." An ad hominem targets the person rather than the validity of the person's argument. And this slogan targets the men who have valid arguments against abortion. This slogan is pushed onto young women like me, encouraging freedom and individualism, saying that we are better off standing alone and not listening to men. How about our fathers who greatly value us and promote life in the family? Recently, I came across a post on Facebook about a page from a grade 10 school book referring to a fetus as not being human because it cannot survive independently. I immediately checked the comments and saw students my age cheering it on. I shared the post and captioned an excerpt I wrote in my article defending the pro-life stance. First, fetus simply means offspring in Latin. As a homeschooler, I was required to learn Latin din po for a few years. Therefore, when pro-choicers refer to the unborn child as a fetus, they are perhaps unknowingly acknowledging that the unborn is indeed a child. We are all essentially a clump of cells. Cells are the basic units of life, whether in an unborn child or a fully grown human. The unborn child grows in the wombs in weeks, and if it weren't a living organism, it wouldn't have the ability to develop. So, if humans are living organisms made up of cells, we must ask, what's the real difference between life of an unborn clump of cells and that of a walking, talking clump of cells? Unfortunately, that post has been taken down by the user, so we cannot anymore comment on it and enlighten more people about it. Today, I speak on behalf of the youth and future generations as the media is targeting us and twisting lies, passing them off as facts and grooming us into their wokeism. My personal and online encounters with anti-lifers have encouraged me to be courageous in standing up for life and for teenagers like me. I am passionate about defending the unborn because I believe every human life has value, regardless of circumstances. As a youth myself, I want to be a voice in a world that proclaims truth, beauty, and goodness of life, and trumps the lies and noise that the anti-lifers profess. As a teenager, I've observed that many of my peers conform to societal pressures and norms. Mabilis madala ang mga kabataan ng popular opinion kahit ito ay mali. Why? We fear standing out, feeling left out, or being different. Recently, a youth group member asked me about my thoughts on teenage pregnancies and sexualized behaviors. I told her, it all comes down to the value of human life. How do kids value themselves nowadays? Most of the time, it's based on status or fitting in with the crowd, and that's the root problem. That's what needs to be called out. The trend of hypersexualized teenagers is alarming. It starts with clothing styles that tell young girls their worth depends on how they style their hair, or how short their tops are, or simply how sexy they are. It extends to pornography being widely accessible on social media and comprehensive sex education in schools. The issue with sex education is that it teaches students how to engage in intercourse safely, but it fails to embody the sacredness of the act. It reduces it to a biological, physically pleasurable act, rather than its sacredness in how God intended it to be. It tells you what's safe for your body but not for your soul, which is the core of our humaneness. It cheapens our inherent value and dignity as human beings. 1 year ago, I was hanging out with my friends when one of them shared a story. Nung nagdi-discuss kami ng reproductive anatomy sa school, yung kaibigan ko, tumingin pa naman siya sa likod niya, sa girlfriend niya. Tapos kinilig sila. parang inside joke, parang may ginawa na sila. This is the result of free pornography and sex education that degrades our soul's safety and the beauty of chastity. Both corrupting influences teach that our bodies are commodities for exploitation and not temples to be cherished and respected. The media is villainizing chastity, when in fact, it's a beautiful thing. Chastity is the presence of purity. It is where love can be found. Chastity is purity in love, in action. Last year, I led a prayer meeting on the topic of pro-life. A member shared that his friend had impregnated a classmate and they planned to abort the baby. Hearing it brought pain to my heart. I feel sorrow for teenagers as young as me going through this. No woman should undergo such agony to even think of murdering your own child. Young people nowadays have a wrong understanding and appreciation of love. Love has become just a word, stripped of its true meaning, reduced to fleeting feelings and what someone else can offer. It focuses on self-satisfaction, leading to the exploitation of others. But love is not about self. Love always refers to another. It gives without expecting anything in return. As St. Thomas Aquinas said, to love is to will the good of the other. And we are all worthy of this love, no matter our past, no matter our life stage. Every human being is deserving of love, most especially the unborn. Out of all the stories I've shared, one thing has stuck with me. I must stand up for the truth and what is right for my fellow youth and future generations. When I was 12 years old, I asked a senior about his opinion on abortion exceptions. He replied, "Bata ka pa, hindi mo naman maiintindihan." That challenge only made me more determined to prove that even a voice as small as mine matters. Imagine how many young girls are being manipulated by the pro-abortion movement, convinced that if they can't achieve great things, if they become mothers. Or how boys are ashamed for choosing to live chaste lives and for pursuing godly paths. Imagine how toddlers are being introduced to LGBTQ ideologies through drag story hours in schools. And teens are misled by the transgender industry, told that if they don't feel comfortable in their bodies, they must be in the wrong one. Imagine a world that tells youth they'll never be enough as they truly are. Imagine a future full of young people who mutilated themselves thinking that it is an expression and pursuit of freedom, but ended up living miserable lives brought about by the wrong decisions, encouraged upon them by a broken society devoid of values and God. This is happening in the West now. I do not want this to happen to our country, the Philippines. We Filipino Catholics know better, and your presence is a testament to that. We believe in our God-given dignity and the sanctity of life from conception to its natural death. As Saint Pope John Paul II said, a nation that kills its own children is a nation without hope. Every human being is equal, including the unborn. Every one of us deserves the chance to live and to be loved. Life is not defined by convenience or circumstances, but by its inherent value. No suffering, no tragic circumstance, and no imperfection can diminish the worth of a human being. Every life matters, not because of what we can offer the world, but because of who we are. To defend life is to stand for humanity itself. I hope to be a voice for the voiceless. I am pro-life because I believe every baby deserves the chance to live a beautiful life just like their teenage mothers do. My generation is being preyed upon by the woke agenda. We are seen as naive and easily manipulated. But we are strong and we matter. Our voices matter. We've been silenced by ideologies and the fear of being outcasts. But as Pope Benedict XVI said, The world offers you comfort, but you were not made for comfort. You were made for greatness. I am pro-life because I believe that hope is a person, and his name is Jesus Christ. We are pilgrims of that hope, that person who is life himself. That is why we are walking for life. We are walking for him, for Jesus. So how now, brown cow? What can a young girl like me do? As a servant leader of MFC Youth, when I visit new schools, meet new students, or interact with new youth members, I always ask them for their Instagram so I can stay connected. My main motive is to introduce them to the side of the world that is condemned today, the pro-life side. Gusto ko ipaalam sa kanilang ating magandang layunin, ipakilalang iba pang mga kabataan na may pagpapahalaga sa buhay. I also write Catholic songs for the youth to relate to, and I write articles on my blog and for MFC LCSC about spiritual reflections. I created an international Christian Discord safe space for high school students to freely be themselves in a world that tries to suppress them. We host debates and answer questions on abortion, Catholicism, LGBTQ+, and more. After a debate with a pro-choicer, a teenage girl messaged me and said, "Hey, I just wanted to thank you for fighting for the unborn. I'm happy that there are still good people fighting for the right things." We must be role models to the youth, embodying a brave heart in a world that underestimates their strength. Recently, a teenage boy from the safe space was going through a tough time. His problematic attitude made him unlikable to everyone. To the point na tinatanong na po ako ng mga kaibigan ko, bakit po ba pinapastayan dito? Ang gulo niya na eh. I told him, just to let you know, you have us. When God strips us of temporal things, it is only to enrich us with spiritual things. The simplest things done with great love matter. Showing up and simply reminding the youth of hope and love is the foundation. To be pro-life is to be pro-hope and pro-love. Just yesterday, I shared a lengthy document where I provided a thorough defense of the pro-life stance. To analyze their arguments, I tackled the 5 most common objections from a secular perspective, covering science, philosophy, ethics, and logic. I wrote this in hopes of shedding light on the truth, that science is on our side, the truth is on our side. You can find my document on my Facebook page, Javier. The future generation depends on how we shape the world today. The future starts today. Once again, I am Benita Javier, better known as Nits. I am a teenage pro-life advocate, and I aspire to live defending and protecting the beauty and sanctity of life. I was born to defend the unborn. I am walking for life, walking with hope, and walking for Jesus with you. God bless everyone.
Thank you very much, Ms. Nits Javier. Our next sharer is a pro-life OB-GYN specializing in pediatric